the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please, Scott. Commissioner Butler? Here. Commissioner Boyle is absent. Commissioner Odetta? Here. Commissioner Rosito? Here. Commissioner Ryan? Here.
Are there any additions, corrections, or deletions to the agenda?
No, ma'am.
At this time, are there any public comments on agenda items only?
You do have a discussion point under new business for that item, I think you about that.
Okay, because Pat and Ed did want to speak, are we going to wait until we discuss it, or should they speak now? Because it is an agenda, I don't know, correct? To discuss, so would they come up and speak now? Sure. Pat and Ed, if you guys wanted to come speak, you can now.
Now?
Yes.
It's an agenda item.
Oh, wonderful, okay.
Do they feel like they're gonna need more time in the framework?
I think they're, yes.
Hi, I'm Pat Singson, my husband Ed. We're with the Tilling Park Historical Society, and we need a lot more room in our building than what we have. And it seems like the house that originally was built for the pasture of the church in 1882 is going to be offered for sale. So we're rather interested in if the park district might be involved and the village might be involved, and we'd like to get everybody involved and, see what we can do. It doesn't appear to be in the best condition, but we haven't really been inside or really had a thorough look at it. But we're just here to maybe talk about it, see what could become of it.
And I'm excited about this idea, I hope we can make it happen, but we are going to discuss it. I'm sure there's different grants, I'm not sure, we're gonna have to look into things, but I'm sure for historical buildings that, you said you researched the house next door and it is a historical building as well. And it was built for the pastor of a church.
Yes, it was
like
built
100
by
years ago.
the congregation.
So maybe we can look into different outlets to.
It's 140 to 150 years old, same as the church.
Oh, wow, it doesn't really look that old, I mean, you can tell.
Yeah,
So it's been used as a residence all that time,
Yeah.
so.
That is the only hope for you guys to expand.
it is.
Right.
It-
We're gonna have to put a GoFundMe page out or something.
It really is our only hope because that's where the land is, and there's a lot of different options that they could be done. The building could be knocked down, or it could be fixed up. It could be moved over closer to the church. There's like a space between the church and the building. So there's a lot of different things we could look at. I think it needs a lot of work. I saw on Zillow that they were looking, they thought the market value was about 320. I don't think that's, I don't know, there's a lot that needs to be fixed with it, so. Everybody would have to have a look and think assess what they think the value might be.
It's an exciting idea. We don't,
It
we
is.
don't have much to,
We need room,
right,
so,
I mean, it's part of the history,
right.
that area there, so, why we're interested in saving
And it
what
will
we
not
can
have
of
too
it,
many park
and
areas.
keep it in the museum area there, I mean, the
and
perfect spot,
It is.
if we had to knock it down, it would be nice if we rebuilt and made it the same as the original.
I mean, the building now is not ADA accessible at all,
No.
probably, so, I mean, that's the big part, of building for
What's needed.
people to use, so, right, it's a lot to look at, but,
Yeah, it is.
I mean,
But
we've been losing too many buildings, in town. Part of the history that, there's a chance we could maybe do something with this, so that's why we're looking for some direction. Okay?
Right. It would be
We
nice.
appreciate you coming out, the Park District have always been strong supporters and we love partnering with you at the Historical Society, so we
Thank
look
you.
forward to, I know Commissioner Butler said that she had been working with you all and learning a little bit more later, discussing what kind of has already been discussed, and getting caught up on that, so.
I mean, the Historical Society signed an agreement in '86, you know, nice working relationship that, you know, we're very, very, very proud of working with the Park District, and we're happy, you know, so, I mean, gotta give it to Ryan, boy, he takes care of it, I tell you.
And we gotta give it to you to see what you would have the Carsey Park if it wasn't for you.
I'd like to say thank you for the fireworks display with the village also together, and that, it was a very nice display. I just want to mention that.
Thank you very much, we appreciate it.
Any more information, you know, so we can, you know, share with everybody and, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for letting us speak.
Are there any other public comments on agenda items at this time?
What's the upgrade for lighting?
I'm sorry,
The upgrade for the lighting,
on here, yes?
what's it for?
We'll get, when we get into board reports, that will be explained,
Okay,
okay?
just curious.
Comments
talk?
on agenda items?
Where I normally talk?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
I don't wanna get missed.
Are there comments on agenda items?
I did, is, follow up the Simpsons, this truly is a once in a lifetime opportunity to get that property back to where it belongs to the Historical Society. Urge all you guys to work with them and the village. It's extremely important to keep that with them. You'll never get it back again if you let it go. It's now currently a rental, it is in bad shape. And we'd love to work with you guys to get it and keep it for yourselves, and you guys choose what you wanna do with it, but it needs to change ownership and it has to go to the Historical Society. So I hope you guys work with them on that. We'd love to, partner on the Historical Society. The amount of work that you guys have put into that place and keeping it, the history of the village is second to none. Now that we don't have Pat Ray around anymore, I don't have anyone to call and talk on the phone for 5 hours, regardless of what country he's in.
Yeah, right.
The other thing I would too is, it was tabled last time, the resolution 26-R-20 to approve travel to upcoming conferences. I was hoping to see something on here, some prohibition on all the alcohol purchases that were done last time and the expenses that were on that 2-day trip. Hopefully you guys table it until you guys do the resolution. That a motion was made by Commissioner Butler and seconded by Commissioner Rubino, that you guys were gonna work on it. I don't see any type of resolution on that, so hopefully this is just a misprint. That's it.
Thank you. At this time, we'll move on to staff reports.
Yes, ma'am, I have quite a few, as we'll run through. I apologize, I was unable to attend last month's meeting. I was out of town for baseball. Those of you that are travel parents, you know exactly how that goes. Once they schedule something, you're kind of at the mercy of the baseball team. Okay, we're gonna just run through a few items here. I'll start with the agenda items. I'm gonna ask for a little bit of leeway for a moment because we have an ADA transition plan, audit and transition plan tonight for approval. John McGovern from WT Group is actually here, and I'm gonna ask if it's okay from the board to have him come up and present to you real quick what they basically found and the process moving forward. Mr. McGovern.
Thank you. Thanks very much, sir. Thank you. My name is John McGovern, and I lead the accessibility practice at WT Group, and we came back to do an update on your transition plan. We did the original transition plan 2012-ish, and a lot of things have changed since then, and I'll highlight some of those with regard to regulations and standards that are a little bit different. Tonight, I'll just quickly walk through a little bit about the ADA requirements for existing sites and new construction. They are different. Talk about the transition plan and what it must include. Talk about the process that we use to evaluate all of the Park District sites. Talk about our deliverables. Talk about some of the cost issues, touch on those. Give you some strategies, and then throughout, just interrupt me if you have a question when we get to a slide that captures your interest. There's also a handful of images just to give you a sense of the detail that we go to when we look at your sites. Our background, I worked in Parks and Recreation for a long time. I was the director at West Suburban Special Recreation and at Northern Suburban Special Recreation. Was always curious about whether or not local governments had a legal obligation to provide services for people with disabilities. So I went to law school at night while I worked at West Suburban. I would like those 4 years back, but I really enjoyed that and was able to then represent NRPA on the federal advisory committees that created the design standards. So it was a really good experience. Our accessibility practice has been around since 2008, and we've made millions of recommendations for retrofits and have served more than 740 park districts, cities, counties, and small groups like the state of Texas state park system. A little bit about the ADA requirements for existing sites. So this is kind of tricky. The ADA is really unclear in some areas. They want you to do the heavy lifting. And so with regard to existing sites, you do have to evaluate them for compliance against the existing standards. Then you're told really clearly that you do not have to make every existing site accessible. And instead, let's use playgrounds as an example. If you have 40 playgrounds, let's make it 30, it's easier to divide. If you have 30 playgrounds, you have to pick a number and disperse those throughout Tinley Park so that no matter where I live, I have a playground that is accessible that I can use. The Department of Justice does not give you a percentage or a ratio, but we're comfortable doing that. We've always used a minimum of 1 of every 3, so 10 of 30, with the idea that in 2027, when you replace a 25-year-old playground, now you're at 11 of 30 that are accessible. 2 years later, you're at 13 of 30 that are accessible. So before you know it, you're at 50%, not at 1 of 3. You do have to create a transition plan that phases the work over time. Again, you're not told you have to do it within X number of years. If you're doing it voluntarily, if you're in a settlement agreement, that's different. You only have 3 years to get all the work done if you're in a settlement agreement. So you're acting wisely by doing this voluntarily before the Department of Justice knocks on your door. Community engagement's a key part of this too, and we use community engagement to help identify how Tinley Park residents who have a disability view the priorities for access to Park District programs and facilities. So we do that in 2 ways, and I'll talk about that, but it's a survey, an online survey, and then we held a couple of meetings here where people were invited to attend. So quickly, what is the ADA? Title II. Title II is the piece that governs the 89,004 units of state and local government, including the 363 park districts here in Illinois. It is crystal clear about design and construction of new sites, even if there's not a standard. So skate parks, for example, there's not a section of the design standards that calls out skate parks. But skate parks then have to meet the gate latch, pounds of force to open them, they have to be at the right height, there's gotta be an accessible route to it. And then once I'm inside the skate park, if I use a wheelchair, I skate just like everybody else does, except I'm using a wheelchair. So new sites have to be fully compliant. I'll tell you, we rarely see a new site that is fully compliant. It might be something simple like doorknobs instead of door levers. It might be something more complex. We have a client that is a large courthouse with 22 courtrooms. All 22 courtrooms, brand new, failed. So sometimes it's the architect, sometimes it's the contractor, and you know that the interface between design and construction is never perfect. But it's also a third factor, and that can be maintenance that's conducted by the park district. The audit of existing sites is required. We talked a little bit about that earlier, and we do follow whichever is more stringent. The federal 2010 standards or the 2018 Illinois Accessibility Code. So in 2018, Illinois got tired of waiting for the feds to act, so they adopted the broader version, which includes trails, picnic tables, and a couple of other assets that I don't think you have, campfire or campsites, and things like that. So a lot of the issues that we saw were related to trails, because you have trails that were built before 2018. They obviously don't comply with the 2018 requirements that Illinois adopted. I'll talk a little bit more about those when we see some of those. ADA requirements for new construction, like I said, all new construction has to be fully compliant with the standard, both the Illinois standard or the federal standard, whichever is more stringent. We do look for smart practices. There are some things that the 220-page standard document does not address, but we know from our experience that you have tried them and they work, or a nearby park district or a municipality has tried them and they work. So we do include those, but we don't make it a mandated requirement. Existing sites hinges on the notion of program access, so let's go back to the playgrounds that I talked about earlier. Playgrounds are a thing. They're metal and plastic and rubber and other products, but in the eyes of the Department of Justice, they're a program. So in fact, this is a program. This is an opportunity that you make available to the public. So public comment is an opportunity. So it's not so much just brick and mortar types of assets that have to be accessible. It's the program or the opportunity that you provide. So if I want to stop at Jet's Pizza, I drive by this every time I come here. If I want to stop at Jet's Pizza and find a park with a picnic table in it and sit there and eat my pizza, that's a program that you provide. I talked about this earlier, not necessarily every existing site or every asset as a site has to be made accessible. So this is really a planning exercise. You want to make sure that you've got the map of Tinley Park in your head, and you want to locate sites so no matter where I live, I can use those sites. As far as how soon you do it, we suggest in our report to you that a 20-year window is correct. That may change. You may find ways to accelerate that. Maybe it's an OSLAD grant, maybe it's a donor. You may find the need to decelerate that. Maybe it is changes in the property tax system. So all of those come into play, but having the plan and acting in good faith is really important. Our process was pretty simple. I'm gonna pull my phone out, even though I turned it off. So we have an app on our phones that help us evaluate it. So the app includes the federal standards and the Illinois standards and our own smart practice checklist. And we look at every single thing. So every doorknob that we walk by, the clear space around doors, everything is something that we evaluate. The tools we use are pretty simple. In the picture you can see them. It's a 2-foot digital level, not a 4-foot, not a 1-foot. A measuring tape, and then the pencil-like things on the right, those are the door pressure gauges that we use to make sure that I can open a door with a closer that's interior with less than 5 pounds of force. And Illinois is one of the 10 states that has an exterior door closer force, and that's 8.5 pounds of force. Most states have not addressed that. All the data we collect when we're here, so Tanya Scheibe, one of our project managers, she led the effort here. All the data that she's collecting in the phone goes to the cloud. I have no idea what the cloud is, but I see the results, so I believe that it exists. What's the transition plan? So it focuses on making the programs accessible. And I have it in quotation marks because a facility is a program, a parking lot's a program, and so forth. Dispersion is really important. I've talked about that a couple times. There is some guidance from the Department of Justice about unique sites and recurring sites. Unique sites, so if you have only one landmark church, then that's a higher priority for accessibility because you don't have the opportunity to move some of the events there to another site. Recurring sites like playgrounds, again, you have more flexibility. Trails, you have more flexibility and so forth. Transition plan factors, so these are some things that we've seen other jurisdictions consider. You know, what are the physical obstacles that limit access? What method are you using to make the site accessible? What's the schedule for retrofit? When will the work occur? And then name the responsible official. So Sean or Ryan or whomever it's going to be, wind up on the sheet. The transition plan also does not require cost references, but we know you can't make a plan without having some sort of a reference as to what it's gonna cost. So we do develop this based on RS Means. RS Means in 2004 published an accessibility costing manual. They have not updated it since 2004. So we kind of manually update it by making a guesstimate as to what the cost of construction has changed between 2004 to today. We do use the rest of the people at our company, our architects and our engineers, to try to sharpen that. Deliverables for each site that we saw, all of the sites, we provided you with a PDF version of a site report. We gave you an updated transition plan with a pivot table. The pivot table is a great way to kind of see at a snapshot what dollar amount we think incurred at each site to make it accessible. And then if you open the link in the pivot table, you get a short summary and it'll say accessible route or trails or playground or so forth. You got a final report, which is kind of our review of the Title II requirements that the ADA imposes. And then we had some really good community engagement. It was mostly your staff and SSSRA staff, but we got a lot of value out of that. And we also did the online survey. You also selected the training module, so we enjoyed the opportunity to come down here and talk about everything from infrastructure to just what the heck is a reasonable modification in a recreation program and so forth. Quick look at the fiscal notes. So in phase one, again, remember we have 1, 2, and 3 stretched out over 20 years. So you're right at about 18 million. Phase one, we had 7 million, a little under 800,000 in phase two. Phase two was things that were new to the standards. So playgrounds, sports fields, sport courts, and so forth. And then phase three is by far the more complex sites. That includes trails. I said I was going to talk a little bit about trails, and I will do that here. Trails are kind of the new playgrounds. When the 2010 standards were published, playgrounds weren't of an accessible design. I think the playground industry has kind of caught up to that, and new playgrounds that we see today are much, much different than what we saw in 2012. But trails is still kind of the wild, wild west. And it's hard for it's hard for any jurisdiction that has trails to go and make an existing trail compliant. So instead, what we suggest that you consider in the report is build new trails. Develop some new trails that you can ensure are fully compliant. That way you can leave your existing infrastructure the way it is, keep it with the cross slopes that are too steep or the running slopes that are too steep, and make sure that you've got relative flat land trails. Along with that comes an obligation, of course, to communicate that to your community. In our experience, families who have a person with a disability in the family spend much more time researching about where am I going to go to enjoy recreation. So you want them to be able to look at your website and see, hey, this trail has an average cross slope of 2% and an average running slope of 5%. I'm much more likely to come there. At some of the community engagement sessions that we've conducted with other communities, we've heard families say they'll drive 2 to 3 hours to find an accessible playground or an accessible park that they can use. And you don't want that. You want them to stay right here in Tenderloin. Strategies, we have a good relationship with disability advocacy groups. You're active in SSSRA. I think those are 2 really important pieces to continue. I mean, the second bullet point's important. Every year, budget and expend fiscal resources towards compliance with the transition plan. And our parents all told us not to brag when we were kids, but I'm gonna tell you to go ahead and brag. You know, when you have a site that you have made retrofits at, or when you have a site that is compliant, talk about it. Put it on your website, put it in your brochure. Make sure that families know that it's there and that they can use it too. And last but not least, exceed the minimum requirements. I mentioned cross slope a couple of times. Cross slope for a trail can't exceed 2.08%. So So don't specify it at 2.08%, specify it at 1.8%. Give the contractor a little bit of wiggle room so that it's more likely they're gonna comply when they're finished pouring and have moved on to the next project. Couple of pictures to whet your appetite. Slopes at Bettenhausen Park and parking are 3%, can't exceed 2.08%. So this is pretty common, and of course here in Illinois we have that whole freeze, thaw, heave cycle. So this could be a parking lot anywhere in the Midwest. The slide on the right, parking signs are too low at Centennial Park. That's an easy fix. Not for me, I have no technical skills and no tool skills, but give one of your talented staff a screwdriver and the right set of bolts, and they can go out and solve that problem for you. Accessible routes, again, is a pretty common issue. Crossroads were too steep at this park, and I can't read the number, but I'm gonna bet it's 4%. Wood chip and dirt buildup at the boardwalk in Town Point Park. So this goes to the point I was making about maintenance. I know you maintain your parks and routes. This may have been the day that we got there right before maintenance was scheduled. But it's a good illustration of how that loose fill can really slow you. Dirt and grass are never an accessible surface. The two pictures on the right, changes in level and gaps along the route to Landmark Church and School. I don't know if any of you have ever been in a wheelchair, maybe you've had a broken foot or an ankle or something like that, and if you're in a chair and you hit a bump that big, you're not gonna easily get past it. So changes in level are really important to address. You can grind those down if you've got a grinder. You can use one or share one with the village or other entities. And gaps too make it difficult for somebody who's using a cane or a walker to get up and down that route. Parks, table placement prevents the required 36-inch clear space around all sides of it. If I use a wheelchair and I'm cooking for the 4th of July event that my family is at one of your parks at, I need to be able to get around and harass everybody and serve everybody hot dogs and hamburgers. No route to the ball field. So again, this is a pretty common thing that we saw when the 2010 standards became effective. In the old days, pre-2010, if this table was a park, you just put something in the middle of it, and we all got there by walking across the grass. And today, that thing that's in the middle has to have an accessible route to it, because grass and dirt, like I said, is never an accessible route. The tennis gates at Community Park, with narrows at the footings, the hardware's too high, there's cracks in the surface. So kind of a combination, in my mind, of design and then maybe long-term maintenance there. Recreation, clear floor space reduced at the leg press. We see this all the time in fitness rooms. Maybe we've got the right space, and then I come in and I tell the fitness manager, hey, I saw this great device at another place, can we get it? And then you get it and you put it in, and now all of a sudden you have 11 pounds in a 10-pound bag as far as the number of devices that are in there, and you've just lost your clear floor space. Whitewater Canyon, the main pool, the entries have some issues. The sloped entry does not comply. The pool lift has a slope and does not submerge to the compliant depth. So those are probably fixable things with maybe a different kind of a lift. And we can give you advice about where to go for that. Restrooms, we rarely see the perfect restroom, and we found some culprits here. Portable toilets at park sites do have to be accessible, or at least one does. There is not a portable toilet manufactured that meets all of the standards, so we want you to get as close as possible to compliant here. Grab bar placements fail in the restroom at Memorial Park. The toilet is too far from the wall at Tinley Park Performing Arts Center, and that's really important. These dimensions, like when we say too far from the wall, that's based on human anthropometrics. So 95% of us from here to here are, I'm making up a number, 32 inches. So that fits that wall placement, and so if it's 19 inches instead of 18, then that means I can't reach it, that means I'm on your toilet, that means I might fall off. That's something nobody wants to have happen in one of your facilities. So that's just to give you a sense of what we saw. What's next? You know, we would suggest you accept the report and direct staff to implement the recommendations. Like I said before, be sure to annually budget and expend funds toward the transition plan. And staff continue implementation. We saw a lot of things that were really well done. You have a great relationship with South Suburban Special Recreation Association, the second SRA ever formed. And that's really, I think, helpful. And I'll stop there. We'll send this to you to make sure you've got the current version. And I didn't hear any questions, but that might be because I spoke so quickly. Are there any questions?
It's all very interesting, and when you see it, as you're talking along with your presentation, things that people don't think about, live a different life, and they're blessed to live that life. It is so important, so thanks for bringing that to us.
Do you remember in 2020 when you would walk out of a restroom and almost invariably somebody who was conscious of germs would have foot dragged the garbage can over near the door so that they
Yes.
didn't have to touch the door and they had a napkin in their hand. And so it's things like that, it makes sense in the moment, but for a person who uses a mobility device, that garbage can that's been dragged over there blocks
Nightmare.
their use of the door.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, appreciate it.
John, thanks.
If I may, I'm going
Brian.
to continue to move forward here. Covering some items, resolution 26-R20 is the travel to upcoming conferences. This is related to the upcoming NRPA conference, which is at the end of September. It's also related to the travel to WWA conference in October, where one of our staff members goes. It's the Warren Water Park Association conference. As for reference to something earlier with regards to the travel ordinances and so forth, our policy allows for travel. The per diem expense, how somebody expends their per diem expense is not for me to tell them how they do it. Ultimately, they're given a slot permit per diem per day to spend. How they spend their per diems is 100% their right to do. That's how it's associated with the conference. Or with how we send people, we give them a set amount that's set by GSA, not by the board. It's set by the national standards of GSA, depending on where you travel. So there's a travel day per diem, there's a full day per diem, and so you end up getting, if you travel just for 2 days, it's per diem tour travel days, which is less than the full day. I can't speak to necessarily what he's referring to, if my understanding would be, the entire staff went out to dinner and paid their own per diems for the dinner, but we paid for it as one bill, because instead of breaking the bill up into individual things, it made more sense to just pay for it there, and then each person that went paid for that out of their per diem and is tracked according to the records, and that would have been provided during that request as well. Again, I can't tell an adult how to spend their per diem money. They're allowed to spend up to X number of dollars per day. I would imagine that that is similar to the travel that organization uses as well, because they probably follow the same standard. It's a general standard I've seen in most municipalities. I came from a municipality. That's how it works. So from that standpoint, we have a policy in place that talks about per diem, and that's your right to do it as you please. We just cover that when we approve. So what I'm looking for with this resolution is to authorize always more than we typically send. So this is authorizing 5 board members and up to the 4 senior staff members, except for the 1 senior staff who's the 5th, who wants to go to WWA, to go. We don't typically send most people don't attend these conferences. I know, Marie, you've done quite a few of them. Lisa, Ashley, I don't know that you've had the opportunity to attend one of these. Life work gets in the way. Commissioner O'Boyle typically attends as well. Myself and Mr. Veldman will typically go, and they kind of vary. So this is the process that this agency set up years ago. We follow the same process that we started before. If there is a wish by the board for me to take more further action, I'm happy to do so, but that's what resolution 20 is for you.
So
So this resolution is for NRPA, which is the National Recreations and Parks Association, which is the conference in September.
This is end of September, beginning of October, and then it's also for the WWA, the World Water Park Association in October, that one of our staff members would attend, and that helps with the water park. They find the latest and greatest methods, they come across all kinds of fun things.
Which has been attended in the past.
It has 100% been attended in the past. And we'll do this again, we typically do it twice a year. We do it now for NRPA. We'll do it again in probably November, December for what is called the IAPD IPRA conference. That is a conference for both commissioners and for Parks and Rec professionals. As a reminder to our board as well, this is a great opportunity for our staffs who don't get to attend a lot of things during the course of the year to pick up on the latest trends, network with the rest of the Parks and Rec agencies around the state. Mr. McGovern mentioned there's 363 Park and Rec agencies around the state of Illinois. I think that may also include municipalities that have them, and also attend a lot of these if they have those departments. So we do it twice a year. This one I will tell you, it's getting a lot more expensive to go now, so I don't know how many people will actually attend this conference, but if we do so approve it, if you do decide as a board to do that, that would be authorizing those that would be interested in attending. Any questions there?
No, thank you, because you know that I made a motion to table the resolution last month,
Yes, ma'am.
and I was given receipts that taxpayers funded alcohol at the IAPD, so that makes more sense, and it's clear that you guys aren't paying for alcohol.
No, this agency doesn't do that. I won't even go into any further, even for our employee parties.
I appreciate.
Nobody
your
pays for an
detail.
ounce of alcohol. In fact, typically I'm the one that's buying it for the purposes of our Christmas party. It's not coming out of the pockets of the taxpayers, because nobody should be doing that. Because as a taxpayer to this town, I take that as serious as anybody else here does. You all pay taxes,
Correct.
they all pay taxes to this, and we shouldn't be spending taxpayer funds on those kind of things.
Yes.
Moving on, if anybody has any other questions, otherwise, as Mr. McGovern mentioned, we do have Resolution 22, which is the acceptance of the ADA transition plan. It is a big one. You proved this as a board. The previous board did years ago. I think, Marie, you were on the board at the time. This was a requirement by the state of Illinois at one time for us to do this. We needed to update it. So this is the update. We do spend every single year lots of money. So think about it from, you see a number where it says, oh, $18 million. When we redid St. Boniface Park, that isn't to say there isn't going to still be problems with St. Boniface Park, but when Mr. Veldman and the senior staff come together to develop the park, we also meet with the designers. That's one of those things you're addressing. So the numbers you see are actually included in a lot of stuff that we do every single year. So we're in the process of doing the fitness zone, which is one of those things I was going to mention. That will get an ADA upgrade. That would have been in his report, but we're redoing that entire thing right now. And so starting this week, when they tear out that fitness zone, which is behind the fire department at Centennial Park, that will be upgraded to an ADA accessible site for that area specifically that was worked on, as well as probably the transitions to it. So you all of a sudden just knocked out something that would have been in the plan. It's already being taken care of. So keep, as you updated Boniface, Volunteer, Boudingan, all of those parks renovations, then they're still gonna, you're gonna find some things in there that need to be updated or fixed, like cross slopes that are a little out of wonky at points. But you live in a zone that freezing thaws and freezing happens, so you're going to get settlement. So any questions on that ADA transition plan? I know it can be a dry report, but it's super important for the agency to do it. And I'm pretty sure most agencies should be doing it to make sure that they're not having any issues. The next three items I won't spend any major time on, other than I have to apologize. Resolution 23, 24, and 25 are basically just appointments. We made these appointments for the positions. They haven't changed. They were either appointed to a specific person or the position, and the positions are still the same. But it's best practice that we do it every year, so I'm asking for you to approve those. Basically, it's appointing the ADA coordinator, Mr. Veldman, as Mr. McGovern indicated the name on the sheet. That would be Mr. Veldman's. The safety coordinator, who's been Mr. Veldman, it's been him for a very long time. He's got roles just rolling over here. And then OMA officer appointments, and those, as you know, are myself and the two service team attendants and our administrative assistant, our OMA officials. OMA, just to cover that for all of you, is Open Meetings Act. You don't want to be in violations of those, which is why we bring things to these meetings to talk about them in not individual places in most cases, because you can't. Resolution 26 was asked a few minutes ago, or at least mentioned in our public comment section. This is an upgrade to the Tinley Fitness area. We have been over the years improving the LEDs in our building to bring our energy costs down. One of those areas is Tinley Fitness. So you approved, I think, a few months ago, A wing, B wing. You did what we call affectionately, I believe, C wing, which is the gym, years ago. But you just approved in the last few months back, A and B wing, I think. This is the Tinley Fitness wing, where the Tinley Fitness Center is, to upgrade all of those lights to LED. We do not intend to close the facility for this. It is intended to be worked in as we go. We may close the facility, not at night, but we may close the facility down for a period of time to do the work for like a week, I think. But we want to bring Tricia to do it, to get it done quickly and get all that stuff changed out. That is for $40,051.46. To answer the question that was asked earlier, related solely to the Tinley Fitness, like the foyer and all the areas. I have a couple of other items I'd like to cover, if you could, as reported to you. The Bentonhausen Phase 2 work, we've met with the Bobcats individually for what they were looking for. This is a reminder, Field 2 is in the back of the facility, and the soccer field's behind that. Horrendous flooding. I'm sure a part of it's probably neighbors that have their properties drained to ours, but we just gotta work around those. So we're going to completely skim that field, clean it up, brand new backstop. For those of you who've been around long, all of you have been longtime residents, that facility hasn't seen new backstops in 25 years plus. It's one of those things, you did Phase 1 last year, this is Phase 2, next year will be Phase 3. It went well, meeting, I passed on all that. We are going through a staff level update and cleanup right now. Ultimately, it'll go to the village for approval here shortly, but we'll keep you apprised. You'll have to approve something in the next coming month or two related to a project, because there's going to be bids for that. E-bikes, e-scooters, this is just quick. The governor, to my knowledge, has not signed in the e-scooter, bikes and micro mobility machines, that you call them micro machines. Ryan teases me about that all the time. But as a reminder, the state of Illinois passed a law, or trying to pass a law, they're waiting for the governor to sign last time I checked, to curb some of the issues. For all of you as board members, I'm sure the village is having the same issue. Let's just say the young people aren't using them the way they were supposed to be intended to be used, and it always gets overly used, and so we're all having the same problem, and it's not unique to Tinley Park. This is a statewide and probably a countrywide issue. It's too easy to buy them, and now I see electric motorbikes now going 40 miles an hour that are going up and down our trail north and south. Very, very dangerous. So that's just a quick update. We're going to prep a couple OSLED projects for the next couple of rounds. Your master plan you'll see next month, as well as the goals will include some recommended OSLED projects. We'll pull a couple of them together so we have them on the shelf ready to go. That again is another area you start to cover cost of these things. We will provide you with the final draft of the master plan probably later this week, early next. When you get it, it will be 99% copy and close to 90% design. I will promise you our marketing team is very good at it, but they have an eye that I don't have, and I wouldn't see the difference from one to the next, but they do. So you'll get that for copy. If you have any questions, come see me. I do look to move those at the next meeting in August. There is a plan, we're going to plan a binding hearing for August 17th. This is every 2 years we do a binding hearing to do our capital projects. This is just an annual, the only debt this agency owes is the annual bonds we do. It is being recommended that to save the taxpayers money on our side overall, is to ultimately do a 2-year bond with 2 maturity dates. So we do plan to do that at our next meeting. You will see that announced here shortly. That'll have to be another special meeting at your next, it will start at 6 at our next meeting. We will also be getting our financial audit in August. That should be coming through. You should hopefully get a copy of that as soon as we get it. We haven't gotten it yet. We talked about that. I mentioned the Centennial Fitness Zone. You guys may get questions here shortly. That has been we'll start construction sometime this week. if not early into next, in how many weeks, Mr. Belvin?
I believe 3.
Perfect. 2 to 3 weeks, probably for construction work. We do plan a grand opening once that's done. We'll also be planning a grand opening for a sensory room. We've talked about it this meeting. It is completed. So we'll probably look for that next month. So we'll try our best to work with all of your schedules to get it in that. The brochure printing bids are tonight for as well. This is for the KK Stevens Publishing for $52,833. They, every year, as a reminder, we bid our brochures for the 3 printings we do. They come out for the 3 seasons. So every year we do it, they've come back. Megan and her staff are working to consolidate it a little bit more with technology and things that we do. So they're not so big, bring the cost of this stuff down. So that is a single year bid for $52,833. We are in the swing of summer, and I'm about to say something, you're all gonna look at me and I'm probably gonna get groans, but summer's coming to an end. We are already planning for fall and looking at winter brochure planning, but summer, literally, the end of camp is next Friday. Not this Friday, next Friday. The pool closes in 6 weeks. I know we're still in July and everybody's going, wow, how can you possibly be talking about, but this is the reality. The pool's projected to close on September 7th. I have good news to report to all. They got their second 5-star audit the other day. So they're now sitting on 2 with 1 more to go. They are one of those agencies, as a reminder, that you saw. We are one of them, but I will say they, as the water park, are one of those areas. This is one of the hardest things to do, and they have been doing it for year to year to year for 20 plus years. So congratulations to them and all of our staff down there. As I mentioned a few moments ago, the Tinley Fitness is going to be going through some work, and there's probably going to be a closure. We'll keep you up to date when we're going to do that. They started Try It Tuesdays last month. It has been, or this month, and it has been going quite well. Basically, you can come try it out on a Tuesday, and if you decide to sign up on the spot, you get your initiation fee either cut or completely eliminated. So great opportunity. First day they had 7 people sign up. So always a great opportunity. And then Ryan Belton will be giving an update, but finally, but certainly not least, unfortunately, Mother Nature wasn't very nice on 4th of July. I wish I could give you better reports. It was not, that weekend, from a weather perspective, was one of the worst I've ever kind of seen in my years, and I worked on the water for years prior to coming into this industry. Nobody wants to lose a 4th of July. It has impacts across the area. This portion of the country was hammered for days. It was experienced on Friday night. Fireworks on Friday night, I think, were rained. We had the same problems we were going to have. We were very fortunate to get the fireworks off on Saturday. Unfortunately, we didn't get the rest of the event off. We did have a DJ play music for everybody who showed up. We had a great attendance at 8 o'clock that showed up, and a lot of people. And the fireworks were phenomenal, but it would have been nice to have multiple days of that. It was an attempt for 250, but you did the best you could. So I want to thank all that were involved in it. Thank the village for the involvement. Police department was there. They took care of all the safety side of it. The park district and the public works department got everything taken care of. So I want to thank everybody for that. We will be having a recap meeting coming up shortly. I know that's a lot. I apologize for that. Mr. Belvin, do you have a quick update on the property?
Absolutely. So currently, we have, as of this week, the powerhouse was now removed. So we have 9 buildings left on the site to be removed. You may have noticed that, probably haven't seen a whole lot from 183rd and Harlem. All of the buildings that are left are kind of in the back on the tracks area. So Brandenburg is working on the power plant. They continue to work on 4 and 5 cleanup from Oak Hall and Willow Hall. And within the next 2 weeks, I don't have an exact date, we'll follow up with y'all, but the water tower will be coming down at some point within the next 2 weeks. So we're anticipating, that's pretty exciting. Everybody's kind of been waiting for that to happen. It's the next, kind of monument there. So.
Before the signs go down.
So the water tower, definitely in the next couple weeks, I'll let everybody know. To date, about 3,000 linear feet of tunnel have been removed. Actually backfilling the tunnel as they go, so
great.
It's a lot of activity. And then in the background, the SRP program is being worked on. So that's the site remediation program that we voluntarily went into with the EPA. they're working on, starting to get some documents and things together for bidding, for drilling, for site testing, and that kind of thing. So that's all kind of being also worked on in the background. And that is to basically get, we went after the residential and parks version of the SRP, which is the most stringent, cleanest, you build a house on it, have a park on it program. So we're excited about that, and that is also moving forward. So that's my update.
And just as a reminder, Elizabeth's report from our Remediate 280 committees are posted on our website. So if you go to the village or our Park District website, click on Remediate 280, her report is on there, the financial report is also on there. We, as of last month, just closed out our $15 million grant. So that has been closed out as of June of this year, and we have just started to dip our toe into the $18 million. So all of that information is posted for the public on that website as well.
And to be clear with that statement, when she says close out, we just spent the rest of the $15 million from the initial grant and are now into the $18 million grant going forward, as we still have work. And the SRP's been broken into parcel 1, parcel 2, and parcel 3. Parcel 1 being the western portion, parcel 2 northeast portion, and parcel 3 being the southeast portion. Parcel 1 has been approved for the SRP program, what we wanted to do and what testing is required, signed down by IEPA. That process will start once we obviously bid things. Parcel 2's been, if it hasn't been submitted, it will be real quickly. We don't expect that to take as long as 1 did because we needed to figure out what everybody wanted. And then parcel 3 will come in right behind it. So this whole process will roll. One of the things I want to make sure that everybody understands at this board level and the public as a whole is that while you don't see, like you're seeing Brandenburg stuff at the corner of southeast corner where the buildings used to be that are no longer there, they're still working on site, and you may still see their equipment, but just because you can't physically see them, as Mr. Veldman mentioned, there are 9 buildings left to come down. The water tower is going to come down. When the water comes down, tower comes down, that'll be the last major thing you can see from the road very easily. And so the public may start to assume it's done. Hence the reason we're starting to make sure we'll start moving toward public engagement. It's gonna be super important to start getting in front of that to figure out what the public wants and get that plan designed and go forward with that. So this SRP program could take some time still. I want to be clear about it. We don't know until the tests come back, but we could still be in it for a good another year. But you need to start getting into this other process, and I think that's where you as a board want to go anyway. So I think that's all I have to add at this point, and that was a lot. I'm sorry.
Are there any questions before we roll the consent agenda? Kelly, can you read the consent agenda items, please?
Minutes of the June 15th, 2026 regular meeting. Summary of funds for the period of June 18th, 2026 through July 1st, 2026 in the amount of $694,231.25. Summary of funds for the period of July 2nd, 2026 through July 15th, 2026 in the amount of $1,093,181.85. Resolution 26-R-20, approved travel to upcoming conferences. Resolution 26-R-21, 2027 brochure printing award. Resolution 26-R-22, acceptance of ADA transition plan. Resolution 26-R-23, appointing ADA coordinator. Resolution 26-R-24, appointing safety coordinator. Resolution 26-R-25, OMA officer appointments. Resolution 26-R-26, possible lighting upgrades from Equalis Group utilizing Charlotte Electric through EZIQC contract COG-2176-EC1-B for $46,051.46.
Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda items as presented?
So moved.
Second. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Butler?
Yes, except for D, I would like to see receipts. But yes.
Bernie Boyle's absent. Commissioner O'Donovan?
Yes.
Commissioner Rubino? Yes. Commissioner Ryan?
Yes. We will move on to unfinished business. We have no unfinished business at this time. We will go ahead and move on to new business. Our first item on new business is discussion on historical property, so can I get a motion to open discussion on the historical property in downtown Kenmore?
So moved.
Second.
Roll call please.
Commissioner Butler?
Yes.
Commissioner O'Donovan?
Yes.
Commissioner Rubino? Yes. Commissioner Bryan?
Yes.
So just a little background, this past week, the mayor had reached out to Executive Director Roby, saying that there's a piece of property potentially could be coming up for sale, that, are we interested? I know that Director Roby reached out to each of us, to kind of get some feedback, and then last week, Commissioner Butler, we received an email from you, in terms of stating that you would like to have it on a public agenda that we can discuss, and that you and the mayor have been working on it for about the past week. Could you just give us some information about the discussion, the vision, things of that sort?
So, I received a call at the village, seeing if we want the land, but I received the call at the village for Bear Flats. So then I gave him the message, and he spoke with the village manager and, Frankie, I believe, about maybe, some potential of maybe helping us. But I'm not sure exactly where that went. But I don't really have a lot of information except that I'm in favor.
So can you?
How do you feel about it?
Well, can you elaborate more in terms of what it is that you're in favor of? Purchasing the property
So
for? What
I am
you're
in
thinking?
favor of trying to help the Historical Society get it because they obviously need it. They have no room to expand. There's literally no way they can expand. I don't know if we can find historical landmark grants. I was looking some stuff up. I don't know too much. But we do own it. So I believe we should help them along with the village. They're preserving our history. What do you think, Ashley? Marie?
I mean, I was looking forward to hearing like your vision as far as like the conversation. I wasn't sure the extent of
So,
the conversation.
My
you
vision
had.
is to get the land.
Okay.
And then maybe, who knows, maybe we demolish it. They need parking, obviously, we know that. Maybe we expand it. She's talking about maybe moving it closer. There can be so much, but I think getting the land is really important for them.
And then I wasn't
Helping
sure
them
how you
obtain
seen,
it.
like, I think it would be a great partnership with the village, like that was mentioned in the email that I received. So I wasn't sure the extent of all of how that would work between all of us, between the three entities.
I am not sure, but we own it, and I don't think we can afford it. We can afford a lot of other things, but not this. Probably not, because the market value from what we know, Pat said, is $325,000.
That's what was on the.
I know it's not budgeted,
No.
but somehow I would like to put our brains together and try to preserve Tenny's history together.
I mean, I think we can all agree that it's an important part of history
Absolutely.
and that we should definitely partner. I know that the village has, I think it was 14 historical site markers throughout that area in that downtown part where the Historical Society is located. And I don't know if the village owns those or if they're privately owned or if they're just historical markers. I'm not really
I think
sure.
they're just historical markers.
Yeah, so I mean, I would like to extend that conversation with the village as well as the Historical Society to see how the three of us could partner to support in terms of what the vision is, what that looks like.
Yeah, that would be a nice collaboration. It's
I think
expensive,
I think it
so-
would be great too in terms of, you know, just coming together in public solidarity.
Yes.
You know, the public wants us all to work together to help support, and, as you mentioned, the PD has been supporting you since 1986, and we wanna continue that partnership. We love working with the Historical Society and all the fantastic things we do there. And I think this is a great opportunity for the village to come in as well. I'm not quite sure how the village has kind of contributed over the years. I'm sure they, you know, help support as well, but this is something that, you know, the Park District and the village can maybe further the discussion on, you know, who purchases the property. I know the village, budget is much
I mean, we
larger
own it.
than ours.
The Park District owns the property, so I think that it would be nice if they helped us, but I think we should discuss outlets, like maybe grants, like if there's historical grants. I think like us as a board should discuss it and then maybe go to the village.
So we own that property that the house is on, is that what
No,
you're saying?
no, since we own the historical society, I think it would be nice for us to work together on this.
Well, we
And
don't
then
own the
maybe-
historical society, the historical society uses
No, I
the
understand.
property.
So we own the building.
We
We own-
maintain the building, yes.
Correct, yes.
Yes.
So I think it would be nice if, as us, as a board, discuss this first and maybe try to look for different ways that we can help them. Maybe there's some grants, maybe there's things that we can look into.
Is this property in a TIF district? Is there maybe TIF money that might be available?
This is a privately owned property that he wants market value. And I know it needs, all I know is it needs a new roof. The owner called the village instead of the park district. That's all I know about it.
So is there a possibility that the village could purchase the property and we could work together with the village, the
You'll have
historical
to ask the
society
village.
and us? I mean, I'm just asking,
I wanna discuss it amongst our board and see what we can come up with.
because I definitely
Since
think it's
being
worth
presented to us.
looking into a partnership with the village, the historical society, as well as the park district to preserve that history. I agree, it's a once in a lifetime
I think it would be nice
opportunity,
for
and if
them.
it passes,
We have to take care of our historical society,
Yes.
I think everyone.
I would just like to further hear from the village side about what they would be willing to contribute to the partnership in terms of, you know, you're right, we do own that property that the historical society, runs there. What is it, a 5-0?
They did
Not for profit
501c3,
owner? Yeah.
yes.
So maybe this is a site that the village could purchase and we could partner with them to help support, and it would be a good partnership for the park district, the village, all of us to come together
Yes, I agree.
to
Yes, I would love to see that.
support that. Yeah. So I guess my next question would be is what would be, I mean, we are more than willing to partner with the historical society, with the village. What would the village's, opportunity be to step
So
in
maybe
and
we
kind
should
of
bring it to a
support?
village board meeting after we discuss it amongst each other and try to come up with some ideas.
Any other questions or comments in regards to that? I think they would also like to see a little bit more about the property. I know that they shared they wanna kind of expand, you know,
Yes.
space is limited, and what their vision of the property for what it could possibly be, and, looking at, I know typically when public entities purchase property, they go through some sort of environmental study, and, it's not just you buy property without doing homework, so to speak, and so looking into that and what the costs around all of that would be as well.
I would also like to invite all of you to come and visit us and see what the Historical Society is all about. I think you'll be surprised at what we
You
have
guys have
there.
been there, obviously,
Yeah.
right?
It's a
I mean,
treasure.
my opinion is there is no other way for them to expand. They have apartment buildings on the other side, then they have a Meritech, they have no parking. Like, this is literally the only way. That's my opinion.
Yes, that's correct.
We'd love to come and see it again.
Yeah,
It's
we
been
had
a
a
while.
great
And give you the royal tour.
Okay.
Okay, are there any other comments? Can I get a motion to close? Nope,
No,
not
just
close.
one. Next
Okay.
item.
Can I get a motion to open the discussion regarding the public engagement process?
So moved.
One second.
Roll call, please.
Commissioner Butler,
Yes.
Commissioner O'Donovan,
Yes.
Mr. Rubino,
Yes.
Mr. Ryan.
Yes.
This is just an opportunity for us to kind of discuss what we saw earlier in terms of moving forward. I know there was another company that we received information from that was not able to attend. Is it something that we would like to set up another meeting and have a special meeting to see what they have to offer?
I would like
We
to.
just would like some feedback in the direction of what information us as board members need to feel comfortable moving forward with the decision come our August board meeting.
I would like that.
So is it possible that we can
I
set
have to do
up-
more reading, because I honestly am still confused on what they do. To be honest, I see that they collaborate together, they have a really good resume, obviously. I'd like to just read.
Well, and if you have any questions, we have a lot of time before we have to make
Yeah,
a
I was
decision.
gonna say, I just need to read again.
And then, we can bring those questions, you can bring them to me, you can bring them to Sean, Ryan, so that we can get in touch with the company so that everybody
That
has
would be good.
clarification. As you go through, so, and all of those documents are in your board packets, and then you have all the information that was provided tonight, so.
So Featherstone were the first
Yeah.
gentleman
Featherstone
that
was
spoke.
Yes.
And he had a really good resume.
Okay, if there are no other questions or discussion regarding that, we will move on to item 9, which is public comment on non-agenda items. Is there anybody who would like to make a public comment? All right. Just a reminder before we start, it's 3 minutes. If you feel like you need more time, please let us know.
There is a big problem at Veterans Park on 159th Place with noise coming off of the tennis and basketball courts. And it's not bouncing balls, maybe for you it is, but it's music being blasted very, very loud.
I've seen that, by the way, because I've driven past those, they're
Thank
like
you.
gigantic parties,
I called
yes.
the police,
Mhm.
which is kind of basically what I thought that they told us to do when this happens. It was between 4 to 5 p.m. And this guy was blasting music really loud. Do you remember it? Okay. She's my next door neighbor. And what he said, he was there for about 15 seconds and started to drive away when I flagged him down and said, you know, can you say something to this guy? He would not do it, would not do it. He made me go over there and talk to the guy, and I'm like, can you at least document this, that, you know, I called you out here for loud music and stuff. And it's so loud, I gotta find this, picture.
Well, she's looking for
I think what she's referring to, there was like a big, I don't know if it was actually rented, I never looked into it,
I don't believe that date it was.
but I
That
know
party's like a
the
whole
date that
different
she's
thing.
talking about.
that party on
So I was
June
driving past there.
18th was crazy. They had 100
It
people
was
on that
by
party.
Veterans Park, it was a huge
crazy.
party going on.
Um,
It's just, I don't know, maybe it was rented, because it looked like it was like preconceived.
Can you just clarify who you called? Did you call?
The police.
This is on my deck.
So the police
So
were
I
called to
cannot
come
go
out.
up
So
my
maybe I
deck
can have
when this is
security,
going on.
does security drive past there, our security?
I asked for increased
Oh,
drives through from our security, but let me remind the board
Tinley
that
Park Police.
we have
Police
no
call was
ticketing in
absolutely
the internal.
useless. And
Oh, so
they're
I'll-
telling me
I'll-
to
I'll-
call the park district, and the park district is telling me to call the police department, so we are getting no help from either side. And I would like
I
to know
understand
what
that,
you
that's
guys
frustrating.
think, each one of you individually, what you think is the answer to this.
I would
What can we do?
personally call the police every time, but I would think that, I just asked Sean if
You're
our
Sean, I
security,
had a
yes.
long conversation with you.
So I asked him if our security could be increased, and he said that they already are, but they can't give any citations.
They can't give citations, so we have,
So, I mean,
we have rules, we have
Well, probably,
ordinances that cannot be enforced.
They can be enforced, they're enforced by the Tinley Park Police Department, which is why we
Right, we
instruct you to call the police department.
And they would not do anything. He's like, you know what he said to me? It's not that loud. Oh my God!
We can hear it in our buildings with our doors
With the
and
doors and
windows
windows
closed.
I really did drive
It's
past it, I know
loud.
what you're talking
And
about.
on a nice day, I should
It was
not
a little
have to
crazy.
close all my doors and windows and use the air conditioning and run up my bills
And they
because
still hear it.
the park, it's an escalating problem. It's been going on since 7 years
What
ago.
time was that though, that,
4 or 5 o'clock in the
oh,
afternoon.
so I see.
One time, if we could put up a sign that says this park closes at dusk,
It does.
the first time I called was 1:30 in the morning. I had 20 guys on the basketball court with their headlights from their cars
Oh, boy.
pointing to the court.
Yes, yes.
And
I
that
called
was
them that
1:30
too.
in the morning.
And that's at Tinley Park Police.
I did call the police and they came and they shoot them away.
After dark.
And now only one
everybody-
guy on that court lives in our neighborhood. Everybody else is from out of town.
But you guys are right across the street, so I understand how
Yes, it's
frustrating it is,
terrible.
I am so
We're
sorry.
It's
in
just
love with you
frustrating.
about it,
I would do what you're doing and keep calling
which
the
is
police.
nothing, it's
We
not
have to
working.
keep calling the police.
mean, can you guys communicate with the
awful.
police and,
They have to
you know,
come
tell
out and
them
document.
that this is important to us? We're homeowners, we're
Could we
taxpayers,
just
we're
communicate?
law-abiding citizens,
We've had
we're
conversations
voters. I mean,
I have noticed what you're saying, it's very busy over there and very loud.
yeah, and do you
More than
remember
more.
coming to my door when you were campaigning? And you too, Ashley, and I tore your heads off.
Yes.
What was that, 2 years ago? 2 years ago. You guys have known about this.
Well, all you can do is keep calling the police. We can't do anything about
And
it.
because it was before 5:30, I couldn't call the park.
But-
Right, because that's when your
The
security
park is
comes in.
open. Yes.
As an attorney, what would you say?
Same thing Murray said. We have no enforcement power.
None?
The
And you guys
police.
all agree.
You guys
It's very
right around
frustrating.
What about the suggestion
They
that
drive
I
around
made
and
to
they give
you
warnings,
about
apparently. I guess they can't
banning
give any
music in
citation.
the park?
I understand.
I actually didn't
I
know that.
understand they can't
Yeah.
cite.
So what about our suggestion? We want music banned in the park, signage up. We
It
want
is so
in
close
the
to residential, that would be a really
Okay,
hard
I have
thing
one
to
other
do
question.
though, because it's a
The next one
basketball
of
court,
these-
there's tenants, you know.
Is every staff member
It's usually
AED trained,
Well, I mean, just, yeah.
staff member?
Hold on,
Park
I'm gonna-
district?
can we just stop for just a moment? Did you wanna add your comment before we have a discussion?
Oh, you're gonna discuss on that?
Well, you were talking, I just wanna make sure that everybody hears what you were saying.
I was just wondering if every staff member is AED trained.
Oh, you had a question about that, okay, we can clarify that after, okay.
Okay,
So then your question is about potentially banning music in all of the parks, that's what you were
Well,
suggesting?
that won't work.
You can ban it in my park and I'll be, I'll go somewhere else. There'll be
So I think
someone
that is
else.
something that we would have to have a deeper discussion
It's
about.
about the police. We have-
At
it
this
closes at
point,
night.
given
They're
the current
desperate.
circumstance and how the park district and the park is constructed and all of that, the ordinance would be up to the police to enforce. So what you are doing by calling the police would be the recommendation and have them do it.
Yeah.
In
and
terms of looking at
going
other
against what
ordinances,
the
we would have to
police
look at, Lisa, as you mentioned, it is close to a residential area. So if we're talking about potentially putting an ordinance in place to ban music, we would have to do some research in terms of how close are all of our parks to residential areas, set some sort of standard as to,
Some kind of survey.
if it's within a certain,
I mean, you guys are
that takes-
extremely.
I think there's more that has to
We
go
are
into that discussion.
I think
right?
a lot more goes into
And
the
that's-
discussion.
And that's a basketball court also, so I mean,
Yes,
very
and
well,
that's my second, choice is to
we
get rid of
could
that
further discuss
basketball
this
court.
and put it on the agenda or do some kind of
Just get
survey.
rid of it completely, turn it into a pickleball court.
So I think it's
There
something we
is the
can
pickleball court,
investigate a
isn't
little
there?
further.
We need to
Yes,
investigate
there is.
it.
Yeah.
But half of
And
our
kind of
comes
figure
from
out
that
how we
one
can support
basketball
Exactly.
court over there.
Sean, have we
You
had
guys
other
should go over there and
complaints
bring
in
down
that area?
earbuds.
No,
Maybe we need to
I
go there and just.
I have no other
So
complaints.
you can't do anything about the e-bikes and e-scooters that ride around.
Yeah, it is
tennis
being
courts
taken
either.
care of, actually. It's being
Thank you,
taken
we
care of.
appreciate you coming out and letting us know, so that we can do a little bit more investigation and looking into it before, any sort of, but continue to
You
do
have
what you're
their
doing.
information.
I have Miss Linda Hoffer's information. I
Okay.
don't have yours.
No, you do not have mine.
If you don't mind, I'll grab it when we're done.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm just curious if everybody on staff is trained AED with the automated.
I can't give you an exact answer, I can't say it's 100%, but almost every position in the district is required to get it within 6 months of being trained.
I was just curious because of the incident where all the staff members just stood around and watched while 2 people were doing CPR on a patron.
Where at?
That was here in the pool.
Who was doing the CPR?
I'm not going to tell you.
Oh, it wasn't a staff member?
It was what?
Was it a staff member that was?
A staff member was doing CPR and a patron was assisting her. And staff members were standing around watching.
Okay, well, thank you for telling us.
What was the black? Is it the what?
Yes, we had to try to take,
Because that can be a problem. It was, you can't do AED on a wet person, you have to take the clothes off, you have to have scissors, dry towels, and move the person, and nothing was happening.
Thank you.
It was very frustrating, and we did lose her.
Oh, gosh.
Okay,
And we do believe that, however, no matter what we would have done, that we had any chance at all.
well, thank you, we appreciate you coming out.
And thank you for sharing with that.
Letting us know. At this time, are there any other public comments?
I did. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
Just because I'm the oldest.
Oh, you might be. I'm close.
I wrote this 2 or 3 weeks ago, thrown it away, so many things have changed. I was at the Historical Society Saturday. Great visitors, and I don't know who had more fun ringing the bell, this little boy, and the biggest smiles in the world. And then the father looked at the place and says, "What do you have here?" He's been a resident for 30 years, or maybe not, because he's got babies. It's just, I'm selling this again, cheerleading about. This is crazy. Tasha Vu, we like what we're doing this. What could we use? More space, we can tell stories and whatnot. Maybe we could get a legacy grant. You're stealing my fire. And
I just
I
seen
think
it right
about-
before I got here on
there's-
Google.
There's also other ways you can get legacies, and you get some of the stuff, because I know people that did some of this stuff for parks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It's a good thing to proceed. I would like to have the building fixed up. I don't want to tear stuff down, you know, we like to build it up, right? I scare the
I
stuff
didn't
out
even
there.
realize that was a historical building until Ken told me.
Yeah,
It
it's,
doesn't look
there's
that.
hidden gems all around.
Yeah.
We're gonna have a big green gem pretty soon.
Yeah.
Okay, moving right along. Another discussion with somebody. He says, how does this history and park districts and stuff work together? I says, we both have the same goal. We want it to be nice, green, safe. We didn't think of this. My guy, TR, a couple of centuries ago, he started Yellowstone Park. Free recreation for everybody. And that's what you guys are trying to do. We're trying to show stuff off. So, turn me off at 3, because I was good at 9. But working together is fantastic. Preserving is fine. Do we need parking lots? Yes. I'm not too enthused. I can walk to most everything, so that makes a little different spin on it. Put it in perspective. We should all work together. I got invited to the ribbon cutting 228's admin building. I just got first class mail. Tom, I went up there, free refreshments, but I didn't get refreshments. Why did they ask me? Because I go to their meetings and I'm a cheerleader. So if we all work together, we're gonna work out. I've been talking to people about this. I was really aggravated. That's the one, no, you weren't here. Where we were ranked, Park District was pretty good. The school was pretty good, but overall, Tinley Park was like 127. We should be the top 20. So I got real estate people working on how do they get these numbers. So, don't get me agitated. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Mayor? Anybody else?
Like the screen is dirty, that's happens to me sometimes. Sometimes the screen is dirty and you
Yeah.
gotta.
Okay, thank you so much, we appreciate it.
Okay.
Thank you, thank you. Are there any other public comments at this time?
I had comments. There's, for Ms. Helfer's issue, there's an easy fix. We had the same problem at 99 in Costman, almost a similar setup with the houses nearby. They had the same problem what they did. They just put a fence up, they put electronic gate in there, and at a set time, the lights kicked off and the gate closed and no one could enter. So you can put electric gate up and they could set it just like everything else they do with electronics. they could just have the gate automatically close and automatically open at a certain time, so you don't have these issues. So whatever dusk is, they could adjust it throughout the year, so, you know, sometimes it's 4 o'clock all the way up to maybe 9 PM. They could adjust the gate, remotely for the park district on opening it, and when people can enter enter the basketball courts.
Most of the problem occurs during the day.
There was no fence around the basketball court.
And when it's during the day, that's when you just gotta keep calling the police and
And they're
Come to the-
like, well, it doesn't start till what, 10 or 11 PM and then goes till 7 AM?
come to the meeting tomorrow and say the exact same thing at the village at 6. The other thing I want to address is, it's funny, Lisa Donovan keeps trying to push, Lisa Butler, what's your vision? What's the village vision? Ask us, don't ask her. You're just trying to put her on the spot. The vision is simple. We want to preserve the Historical Society history, right?
Yes.
That's the goal. We're not gonna buy the building, they're under your umbrella. We'll help you in any way you need. You come up with a plan on how you think, what kind of help you need. We're not buying the building for you, but we will work with you on whatever permitting, whatever we can. This is not a discussion that you could just keep having over the next couple months. Your window's closing. If you 5 don't make a decision on whether you wanna buy it or not for the Historical Society, it will be gone. I don't know if Sean's contacted, David to discuss them, but he's itching to list it. You'll never get it back. And like Mr. Sampson said, that was the old pastor's, house, now it's a rental. Your window's just about closed, you already got one lock on, the other one's gonna be spinning if you don't, and I don't know, like I said, I don't know if Sean wants to comment, if you talk to him. The guy has a rush, he wants to sell this to somebody. He gave us first dibs, we don't have a purpose for the building. That's why I sent the email to Sean to turn it over to you guys. If you're interested, it's yours for the taking. Our vision is to help the Historical Society. The vision for the building, how it ties in, that's up to you guys. We have nothing to do with that, so we're crystal clear, we have nothing to do with the vision. The only thing I would like you guys to do is to work with them so that they could extend their building however you guys see it.
Thank you. Are there any other public comments at this time?
I just want to have one question. I don't know if there's any attorneys or lawyers or real estate people. But I wondered with the length and the time that building has been in effect, if eminent domain doesn't come in, and that maybe the price that he's asking could be lessened by the fact that it's going to be purchased. No?
I don't think so. I think he's offering it to you guys as a courtesy before he lists it. And
If he doesn't get a response, he's launching it and selling it.
Well, on the other hand, though, the things you mentioned that may be wrong with it would be detrimental to his selling price.
so maybe we can get the price down.
Yeah, I think
I'm
we probably
thinking-
could.
And maybe look into like whatever
Yeah.
grants or whatever there is out there. And I think we need to send him a letter of intent. Who would draft up that letter of the park district? Can we send the owner a letter of intent?
A letter of intent to do what?
To a letter of intent to purchase the house, but we still have to make up our mind, just so he is not in limbo and he knows that we are talking about it
Serious.
Or gives you that direction.
to
That's what I
solidify
think.
it.
But in a letter of intent, you could say, you're thinking about, unless you come to a price.
I think that we should tell him we're very interested, but we have to, obviously, we have to figure out where we're going to get the money. We have some thinking and some strategic.
In house inspection and things like that.
Right,
to see
correct.
How much is going, yeah. But if I could also answer the lady, eminent domain is a possibility for the village, or for us. A governmental entity can take a piece of property for a governmental purpose. But you have to pay, no, you pay a fair market value.
Okay.
And the way that works is that, if an eminent domain case was filed, the village or the park district, or whoever was asking to take the property, would give it an appraisal, and the homeowner would give an appraisal, and the judge makes a decision. That simplifies it, but that's the way it is.
Yeah, we'll do it. He was gonna do it to the crisis center, he talked about the sequence of
He
it.
did say market value, that owner. He wanted to sell it for market value.
Market value is whatever someone will pay for it. That's it. So, and I don't know the condition of the house, the park district would have to look into the condition of the house, because, if you buy a house for $325,000 and it needs $100,000 put in, then you gotta get the money.
So we need an
$400,000.
inspector, basically, to look at it first.
Yes,
I think we can continue to discuss this.
yes.
And I think you should let him know that we're interested.
I think that's something we need to discuss during executive session, right?
Yes, you talk about that money or price in executive session.
I'm talking about the letter. I'm talking about a letter just to let him know.
Are there any other public comments at this time before we close?
I just want to echo Commissioner Ryan's comment during the ADA presentation of it's rather remarkable how many kind of small things there can be that are very different for other people's lives. And wanted to segue that into regarding upgrading the parks to be more ADA compliant. One potential opportunity would perhaps be 180 acres of walking trails through a botanic garden.
That's a great idea, plus a basketball court.
Not what I actually wanted to talk about. Commissioner Rubino, you mentioned in your bio about you and your family using Volunteer Park, and I was wondering if we could get a couple of small enhancements there. It has that pathway that runs north and south along the edge of it, and my wife had the wonderful idea of, there's about 4 metal benches that are scattered around, and one of them is maybe 100 feet down on the west side of that pathway, which wonderfully in hot summer afternoons has natural shade from the pile of hedges and bushes that are right there. So I was wondering if we could consider getting a couple more of that style of benches, but up at where the park is. So when you have parents that have their kids playing around at the park at 4 p.m., the parents can sit there and be in a nice 70-degree shade and not in 95-degree sunlight.
I will talk with staff, and I usually sit under the tree during that time while my kids are playing in the park.
I brought my kid over there.
Like
It's like,
it.
"What are you doing?"
I'm under the tree.
And one other quick thing I wanted to say, I wanted to commend maintenance because I noticed a maintenance issue at Volunteer Park. I called and it was fixed, and I was very happy to see that.
Thank you. Very nice. Thank you very much. Are there any other public comments at this time? Okay, we will move on to public comment. Are there any commissioner comments at this time?
Thanks to everybody who got through the 4th of July and everything that you all do all the time. You're the best, best, best.
I want to piggyback on that. I know 4th of July didn't turn out as we had all had hoped, but for our 250th anniversary. But I'm very thankful that we were able to at least get the fireworks off. I know my family and I enjoyed the fireworks from McCarthy Park, and it was a great turnout to see everybody out there, and everybody was very complimentary. So it was great to see the Tinley Park Police out there as well, SWAT. I mean, everybody was out there helping with the management of that. So thank you for their support as well. I also want to give a shout out for the staff pool party. I still smell like the grill, but thank you to all the staff who made that staff pool party fantastic. We actually had a hot day this year. Usually we're freezing by the pool, but it's great to have an opportunity to celebrate everything that our staff does for the year. So thank you for everybody for making that happen. Congrats on the 5-star pool review. That's great. You know, it's an awesome recognition for your staff and everything that they do at the pool on a day-to-day basis. Sensory room, we're excited about that and the grand opening of our sensory room soon. I know that'll be a great addition for the park district and for our community. I also want to make just a remark about the AEDs. It's great to see the AEDs out at the parks. I know that has been a long coming process in terms of getting them at our most utilized parks on the outside of the building. So it's good to see that those are out there in conjunction with our lightning, although I know the lightning detection has been used quite a lot this year. But we're thankful that we have these things in place for the safety of all of our users of the parks and our facilities, so, just wanted to come, say thank you to all your staff for that. And I apologize if you feel like I was putting you on the spot, that was not my intention. You had just reached out stating that you had had some
I did feel like you
conversation
were
about
making
it.
us back.
And
You were.
that is not. So I
And you were asking
apologize
a
if
lot of
that's
questions.
what you did,
It's
but,
okay, thank you.
that's
very
where my conversation came from.
I just looked away, I was like, all right.
I didn't mean it in that
No, it's
intention in
okay. I
any ways.
appreciate it, at least
It would
that-
had just come from you, and that's why I was looking for direction from you for what, like, the background
The lead.
information, whatever. So,
Thank you.
that was not my intention, but I didn't mean to kind of put you on the spot. It was just that communication had come from you, that you had already communicated with them. So I was looking, I
Because
hadn't
the
had a
call came to
conversation
me,
with
but
you.
I think it was really supposed to come.
Yeah, I hadn't had a conversation with you about it, that's why I was kind of looking for some direction about what
Thank you.
the discussion was, so that was all it was. So, are there any other?
I just wanted to thank the Historical Society for coming out.
Thank
Thank you guys for coming out and speaking.
We'll see what happens.
Yeah, I hope,
Yes, it's a new adventure.
yes, I hope so.
And the last thing I just wanted to say was, as we continue with this public engagement process, I just wanna put this out there again. The Board of Commissioners has always been willing to and has been trying to work with the Village of Tinley Park. We've extended the invitation multiple times for Village Board to join the Park District Board. I know we started with staff years and years ago, all the way up to November 2022, where we were trying to come together, continuous from last summer, when I invited the mayor on a tour of the property so that we can kind of come together. Fortunately, those discussions didn't really pan out when board members attended, and so we're hoping that with this process, the Village of Tinley Park and their board will be willing to come and meet with us and sit down and have a discussion. They're a valuable stakeholder in this, so that invitation has been there and always will be. So we hopefully will hear from them, and we can set up a meeting where it's open to the public, village board, our board, we can come together, have a discussion about that vision and what they're looking for, and we're looking forward to that, so. With that, we will move to closed session. So can I get a motion to go to closed session pursuant sections ILCS 120/2C? We will be looking at 1, consider the appointment, employment, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees or legal counsel. 5, the purchase or lease of real property. 11, the discussion of pending, probable, or imminent litigation. 21, the closed session semi-annual review of minutes. Now, just before we get that, just for the public, the only thing that we'll be voting on when we come back is the approval of the closed session minutes, so there's nothing else on the agenda. And the semi-annual
The semi-annual resolution.
semi-annual.
No other action will be taken.
Yes. No other action will be taken at that time, so you're more than willing to stay, more than welcome to stay if you'd like. If not, we appreciate you coming out, and we will see you all soon. Can I get a motion to go to closed session? Roll call, please, Kelly.
Commissioner
Thank
Butler?
you all for
Commissioner
coming.
Commissioner Dunnigan? Yes. Yes. Commissioner Rubino? Commissioner Rubino? Yes. Commissioner Ryan?
Yes.
7:31.